Got your Midsummer update. People say stuff slows down in the summer, but man, there's still a lot going on.
We're hot. I think there's a lot going on right
It's
now.
hot out.
Our tans are looking good.
State Fair.
It's summertime,
Man. So Midsummer Classic, better yet known as the All-Star Game. I don't know what your takeaway was. My takeaway is dudes throw gas now. How about soon-to-be Sacramento A, Mason Miller throwing 103.6.
So I don't remember every guy coming in. It's like every guy throws 105 now or 103. They're just coming in hot. Like it used to be,
gas.
You'd have one guy throwing 100, but I don't know how these guys are hitting pitchers these days. It's crazy.
Yeah, 103.6 with a crazy slider, but he struck out Ohtani. Shout out to Mason Miller. We'll see you in Sacramento if you're not traded first.
Could be our best player. I mean, clearly the best player, so we'll see what happens. But, we were reminiscing a little bit about some of the old school all-star games. I was breaking you down some of the guys we're talking about. Sosa, McGuire, I don't know. I just can't have a feel with some of these new guys. Like, I like Harper. He's got a little personality. I think, the kid on the Reds, Dela Cruz, is that right?
Ellie De La Cruz, yeah.
I like him, but baseball's tough for me to watch these days. But I did like the All-Star game. I think I like Paul Skenes. Am I saying that right again?
Paul Skenes.
Skenes, okay. I like him, but man,
he's dating like a super influencer.
I've never seen her before. I've never seen her.
Yeah, Livy Dunn. Yeah. So, I mean, he's a really popular guy. I think there's a lot of good young talent coming up through baseball. Gunnar Henderson is a super talented guy, shortstop for the Orioles. There's a lot. Baseball is going to be up in the Orioles team. That's a really, really good young team. Skeens, you mentioned.
I think you're right, though. I think what I see from baseball right now, a lot of young talent coming up, right? I think there is a new generation. I think hopefully these guys will succeed and, our kids will be into it as well.
I also saw training camp officially opened. Houston Texans reported they're a hot pick.
Yep.
But, man, I'm telling you, in the offseason, I'm watching the Netflix receivers.
Every day.
Peyton Manning done it again. This is Peyton Manning produced Netflix show. It's awesome. You got 2 Niners on there. What's your favorite part?
Okay, so favorite part is Kittle and Debo are just amazing on that show. I actually was up at the celebrity tournament in Tahoe and saw Devontae Adams. I saw his wife and I was like, I know you. You're a celebrity because of receivers. You called me the other day. You're like, what are you doing? We're talking about a deal. I was like, I'm going to try to get in a receivers episode today. Great Netflix series. Peyton's done it well. Biggest takeaway is the Niners' 2 guys are just awesome.
Yeah,
and so is Kittle, man.
Kittle, I just want to say this. Like, if you guys ever have an extra seat on the party bus, like, I'm down. I like to go to a lot of games. So I'd be down to jump on the bus with you guys to and fro.
Again, like you mentioned, Kittle, big fan of the show here.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. George, hit me up. I'm in. I'll shotgun those beers with you after that Cowboys game.
Yes.
He's shotgunning beers, gets to his house, sees Bosa at the surprise
That's
party.
your favorite part.
Shout out to Bosa.
You're like, Bosa's here.
Dude, that was great. I love it. All right. We also got golf.
Okay.
My biggest takeaway, British Open, is Tiger Woods.
Yeah, man, it's getting really bad. He got it to 1 under after 3 holes, and it was early morning round. I was pumped, and then it just...
Should he hang him up?
I mean, I don't know if he could hang it up now. I think he's...
Okay, could you beat Tiger?
I don't think I could beat Tiger, but he's really making it pretty bad these days when he goes out there. But
I got my money on you, Tiger, friend of the show.
Friend of the show, Tiger Woods. I think he could do it. I guess my biggest takeaway, Royal Troon, they're playing this week. I've played there before.
I'm saying, could you beat Tiger?
I think I shot like 83 there. Tiger shot +8 the first day. Like, maybe could have been like, a close competition. But I think the Open Championship is nice. I like it. I can get up like 6 a.m. in the morning. They're playing, but I think you bring up a good point. Hopefully this is the end of Tiger.
All right. The last thing in sports right now is the NBA Summer League.
Summer League.
Bronny James. You been watching any of Bronny?
Well, I mean, he's like 0 for 100 for 3-pointers.
He's finally started making a couple shots. But, yeah, it hasn't been a real fast start for Bronny.
Hey, big takeaway. The Warriors have not lost a Summer League game. Do you understand that? Okay.
That usually translates to regular season success.
Their summer acquisition problems with Clay leaving does not make the team look good.
Sacramento legend Buddy Hield?
I mean, we saw what he did in Sacramento.
Buddy Buckets?
Not super excited to have him on the Warriors. I think he'll be good. But I hate to bring this up, but the Kings have some great acquisitions.
Hey, DeMar?
I like their pickup there. I mean, I think
Zach
moving on from Harrison
solid?
Barnes was a good idea, right? I think
Harrison's just a great dude, great member in the community.
Ex-Warrior.
But we needed a splash.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was time. That team had kind of peaked with that current core. So, I think they had to make a bold move. Hopefully, DeRozan's ready. And, hey, you need a place to live, hit us up. We'll tell you about all the good neighborhoods. Welcome to the town, man. We're happy to have you.
He'd be a good Arden Park guy, don't you think?
Yeah, maybe? I don't see him in Arden Park.
No,
man.
Maybe one of those big old penthouses.
Yeah, I see him more gated community.
I think
that's his style.
Yeah, hit us up, friend of the show, if you want to acquire something here in Sacramento.
Sydney, rates making some moves. We got some information coming out, and predictions have shifted. Man. If you remember. You were a 0 rate cut in 2024.
Yep.
I was a September 18th. I think we're up to about 90-something% chance now. So let's hope I'm right. What's your take on rates?
Well, like I explained to you, this is a win-win situation for me. Okay, if I lose this bet, it's going to be a great happy hour, but rates will be cut, and that's going to be beneficial for both of us, right? So listen, I never like to lose a bet, but this is one that I could, have a good time losing. Happy hour would be a lot of fun, but that's great information, right? I mean, if we get rates going down, we've seen a little uptick in inventory, right now. And if rates get cut, if we can balance that out.
So what happens to inventory with lower rates, in your opinion? Because I see more demand from home buyers, which is going to, be attracted to that inventory, but I also think lower rates could mean more sellers, right? We'll have more people get off of those rates they feel trapped in, be more willing to sell.
Lower the rates go, more people might get off the fence and decide to sell and just take on something different, right? So, and a lot of people who've been waiting, potentially, everybody always has that quote, I'm going to wait till rates go down. This might be their time to put their house in the market. So, listen, if we can get to that happy medium where we have a good amount of inventory and strong demand with the buyer, it's a great real estate market, right? It's kind of, hey, listen, we're not offering $50,000 over the asking price, right? We're giving you what you want for your home, get some nice credits for the property. Buyers are happy, sellers are happy. What else can we, that's great. It's a great market.
I still think, though, if you're a buyer in this market and your goal is to wait for those lower rates, the hard part is you're waiting for more competition and you're going to be buying in a much harder environment to get your offer accepted.
We've been preaching this for years.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's just...
The window is wide open right now, though.
Yeah.
More inventory on the market than there's been in the last 2 years, pretty significantly.
This is the time.
You should be super active in trying to find a home right now.
Yeah, and I think you can find a really good property and you're not going to have as much competition as we did 6-9 months ago, or maybe if rates go down in 6 months. Totally. I think this is a great opportunity right now, especially even with summer, right? We got a little people are on vacation. Not as many people are out and about. It's 115 degrees outside, right? And if you could find a good deal or a house that you like, the competition is going to be probably the lowest it's been in a long time.
Yeah, one of the things that's been propping up the market, not just here, but nationwide, those higher rates has been a lot of investor purchases, sure. Right? If you're not buying, that means you're renting. There was a proposal from the Biden administration on national rent control. So I don't know if you saw this, but it would be a 5% annual cap on rent each year nationwide.
Sure.
We've seen rent control in a lot of different areas. I certainly have my opinions on rent control from a guy that owns a lot of real estate and has some tenants. What's your initial reaction?
Rent control, I think, is always a situation that just puts a bad stigma in everybody's mouth when that situation happens, right? I think if it's for bad landlords, which I'm not, right? I have very happy tenants. I keep rates, rental rates kind of at the current market. So if they put a cap on that, it just basically, it never gives you an advantage as owning a property. I really think if it's capped out. And if somebody's going to stay there 20 or 30 years and you can only increase their rent 5% potentially, I think it makes a bad situation potentially even worse.
So I also own property, right? Mm-hmm. So my point would be if I had a long-standing tenant, somebody that was taking care of my house, paying rent on time, I'd be more inclined to leave their rent alone and let them run.
Sure.
But if they vacate my property and now I want to get fair market value rent, I'm going to be forced to continuously raise their rent, right? To stay up with the rate of inflation. So to me, we've seen this in a lot of markets where rent control has come in. It's caused rents to go up immediately. And I think housing is an area where having a free market is going to be much more effective than having gross government over interaction here.
Well, the problem, what I see always happens, right, is, and there's got to be some kind of caveat for vacancy, right? You got to have basically open market rent for vacancy. I think should be in any of these laws. But the people who control all these laws, they don't understand the process of the rental. They're really not involved. They just are, having their constituents tell them, I need better rent, and they don't understand the investment property and the free market of rentals, owning properties, how many expenses go into owning properties. I somewhat agree with you on keeping rents, very similar, but I learned always you got to bump rents up, at least kind of small increments because, like I said, you can get locked in if government comes in and you haven't raised that rent, then you're going to have.
Here's the problem, right? It's like, what's the cause that rents go up? It's typically supply and demand.
Sure.
So if the government wanted to fix rents from going up, it shouldn't be rent control. It should be, how do we get more homes available in these markets? So put your resources towards building and building at a lower cost, because that's really where the challenge is. If you built more homes, you'd have more of a free market, like I said, and you'd have more options.
And don't have so many constraints of builders to build, right?
Exactly.
All the permit fees and everything like that. I think what we're both getting at here is you can go at it a different way. Just stamping rent control on something for 5% for a nation, I just don't think that's going to be effective. I think you can have other ways to help the housing, if you want to say crisis or low-income housing, not just put a stamp on 5%.